So welcome back, guys. In this section we'll be talking about the social sciences and the behavioral sciences, right? So as a medical student and as a doctor, right, the perception of the people towards us is like they are not very socially interactive and all of these things. So as a student, as a medical student, we need to be knowing about all these kind of things, right? These terms are very distinctive terms, I would say, or these are the terms which might be troubling you in thinking that they are look-alike terms, but still they are having a bit of different meanings, right? For an example, there would be a lot of terms we'll be reading about that will be related to social science, social things, social that. So these kind of things we'll be reading about, right? So we just need to distinguish one or two features about these particular points, right, which shall be tested in the MCQs. So while I will be listing the terms, I will be talking about all the terms over there, but I will be listing them at the same time, that what are the important and relevant for your exams and which has already been asked in the exams, right? So with that, let's talk about this particular topic, that is the social and behavioral sciences, right? Or in short terms, you shall be talking about sociology, right? You shall be calling this topic as sociology as well, right? So the very first term which I shall be using over here, that is the sociology. So we shall be reading about the term which is the sociology. So what is the sociology, guys? Sociology is the study of two things. One is it is the study of human relations, and it is the study of human behavior. So study of human relationship and the human behavior is called as the sociology. So what is the sociology? It is the study of both, right? What do I mean by both? That is human relationships, right? With that, the human behavior, right? So this is the study of human relationships and the human behavior, right? Second term which we shall talk about over here, that what is the social psychology, right? So what is the social psychology? Okay, we might be talking about a lot of terms regarding the social psychology, social medicine, social pathology, right? So all of these terms we'll be talking about over here, right? So social psychology, guys, if we talk about, basically this is the study of basis of thoughts, study of ideas, perceptions, right, of a particular person in a society, right? So that is this thing. So study of psychology is the study of the basis of thoughts, right, ideas of the people, right, the perception of the people, right, of people in a society. That is called as the psychology. Which psychology? Social psychology, right? So if we talk about the anthropology, guys, it is a study of physical, social and the culture history of particular person, right? So what is the anthropology? It is the study of physical, social and culture history of person, right? That is called as anthropology, right? And let me tell you, guys, if you will combine these three terms which I told you, sociology, social psychology and the anthropology, if I will be combining social psychology, right, I am combining that with the sociology and I am combining that with the anthropology, right, that is making up your behavioral sciences. That is making up your behavioral science, right? That is making up your, I'm just writing in the bold letters, behavioral sciences. Okay, right? So that is called as the behavioral sciences. So behavioral sciences is considering what? That is considering the social psychology plus the sociology plus the anthropology, right? Once we are clear with these terms, now we shall be moving on to some important terms. For an example, what is society in itself, right? Now I am coming to some more terms over here, that what is society, right? So a lot of people, they are living in the society. So what is a society? Basically, in the society is basically the system of social relationship between the persons or between the people in an area, right? So it is a system of social relationships. It is a system of social relationships right, between the people in an area, that is the society, right? Now we shall be talking about what is family. Everybody knows what is family, right? Family is basically a social group, right? Family is basically not a group. Over here I will be saying that the group of individuals who are biologically related, and who are living under a same roof and sharing a common kitchen, right? So the individuals which are biologically related, right? So the group of biologically related individuals, living together under same roof, or sharing a same kitchen, or sharing a common kitchen, right? If you'll be taking the example of your family, so they will be having one kitchen, right? It's not that you are having your personal kitchen and your sister or brother is having the personal kitchen, your mother or sister is having the personal kitchen. It's not that, right? It's not like that. So in a one home you will be having the one kitchen, everybody will be sharing that kitchen. All of you are living in under one roof, under one roof, sharing one kitchen, and you are biologically related, right? You might be having the brother or sister, or you will be having your parents, right? Their mother and sister, right? Okay, so there are further types of the family, right, where we are talking about the communal family, or we are talking about a joint family. We'll be talking about those family types later on, right? Okay, we have talked about society. What is the community, right? Let me talk about one more term over here, that what is community, right? Usually they will be asking you match the following, right? They will be giving you the definitions on one side, they will be giving you the terms on other side, right? They will be giving the term sociology, society, family, community, right? These kind of terms they will be giving on one side, they will be giving you the definitions also, and you need to match the following, right? So these kind of questions might be asked, so that's why I'm telling you these kind of definitions, right? So usually these kind of questions they are asking us. So community, if we talk about what is a community, so basically a social group which is living within geographical boundaries, right? So social group living within geographical boundaries, guys, right? Living within boundaries, that will be called as the community. Geographical boundaries, okay, that will be called as community, right? They will be having the common values, they might be having the common interest, right? So that's the thing, they might be having the common values or interest, okay, which they are living, okay, or same kind of people are living in one community, right? For an example, the people who are having the belief in same group or same thing, right? So that is the thing over there. So community is those people. So basically you should remember that a group which is with the common interest, which is living within a geographical boundary, right? That is called as the community. Okay guys, now we shall be talking about some more terms over here, like what is the social pathology. I have talked about the social psychology already, which was a part of behavioral science. Now I'm talking about one more term, that is the seventh one I'm writing, right? I'm just naming them so that it will be convenient for you to remember that how many terms we have talked about. Social pathology, right? These are the common terms which we are using at the level of society, at the level of community, at the level of social well-being. So social pathology, if we talk about, guys, this is the social factors. These are the social factors, right, which are influencing the human disease, right? Influencing the human disease, okay, human disease. They are inciting the disorganization in the community, right? Or they might be causing the crime, they might be causing the incidents which can lead to the human trafficking, or the child abuse, or the baggery and all of these things. So social factors which are influencing the human disease, they might be inciting the social disorganization. They might be causing the social disorganization, like the crime rates might have been increased, like the crimes, right? So the people might start doing the crimes and all of these things. That is the social pathology, right? That is not normal for the society, right? Socially, right? For example, pathology, what you are reading, right? In the pathology subject, what you are reading, you are talking about the diseases, right? You are talking about so many diseases, right? So that is not the healthy thing which you are talking about in the pathology, especially that is the social pathology. Social pathology means society is not in a good healthy condition, right? That is the social pathology. So social factor which are influencing the human diseases, they might be inciting the crimes, beggary, right? They might be inciting the crimes, they might be inciting the beggary, they might be inciting the child abuse or the human trafficking, etc. Right? So this is the social pathology. Now, if you have talked about the social pathology, then we shall talk about the social medicine also, right? So what is social medicine? By the way, all of these terms have been already tested in your exams, guys. So that's why I'm just telling them. Yes, it might be boring for you to study all of these things, right? Because as such, there is no concept in telling you, right? As such, there is no concept in understanding, or I would say in explaining the things, right? If we talk about the other subjects, we shall be talking about so many of the concepts are there, and the things are present over there. We might be imagining so many of things over here, but these definitions are like that. There are some things which are there, and we need to imbibe them in ourselves, and by the help of that knowledge, we need to apply that in the MCQs, right? So basically, that's why this is a subject. This is the medicine where we need the combination. We need the combination of both the things. We should be able to understand the things by the help of the concepts and all. We should be conceptualized well, and that is easy according to me, because there is not that much of effort which you need to put in over there, because everything will be falling in its right place when you are looking for the things, understanding the things over there. But when you talk about the memorizing part and all of these things, here you need to put some more effort in learning the things, in understanding the things, in imbibing the things in yourself. But at the same time, this is equally important as learning the concepts, as understanding the concept, right? Understanding the concept might be easy for some people. Learning the things might be easy for some people. When you'll be combining these two, you'll be becoming a superhero in this particular profession, right? So that is the thing. The exam will be testing both of these knowledge, right? If you talk about the importance of this PSM subject, community medicine subject, I'm not saying that everything is for the memorizing part. There are some things which we have tried to learn through the concepts as well, right? I have tried to talk about the screening chapters, right? I have talked about the epidemiology chapters, and we have talked about the biostat, where we have applied the concepts as well, learned the things in a conceptual manner. But these are some definitions over here in this chapter which we need to imbibe in ourselves by the help of memorization part, right? That might be the thing, but that is the thing which you need to understand, and that has already been tested, so we need to study that, right? So that's the thing. So that's how in a nutshell I will say that it is a combination of both the things, the learning the things, imbibing the things in yourself by the memorization part and all, and on the other hand, obviously the conceptualization of the things are also there, which is more fun, right? Okay, so continuing with that, social medicine, guys, it is the study of social, environmental and genetic factors, right? Social, environmental and genetic factors affecting the disability. Genetic factors affecting disability or diseases, right? So study of social factor, environmental factor and the genetic factors which are affecting the people, causing the disease or the disability, that is called as the social medicine in itself, right? Now we shall be talking about one more important term, that is we have talked about the social psychology, we have talked about the social medicine, we have talked about the social pathology. Now I'm talking about the term which is called as the socialized medicine, right? Social medicine, then socialized medicine, right? So let's talk about the socialized medicine, and let's try to understand what is the difference between these two terms, right? So socialized medicine, guys, it is basically the provision of the medical service and education by the state. I mean, the state is actually providing some medical education to the people, for the children living in the society or the community, right? So that is the thing over here. So provision of medical service by the state government or some government over here, by the provision of medical service or provision of providing the medical education by the state, that is the socialized medicine, right? So social medicine in itself, it is saying that study of social, environmental and the genetic factors, but the state which is providing the medical education, the state which is providing the medical service to some people, to some children living in some particular community or the society, that will be called as the socialized medicine, right? So there are the difference between these two terms, right? Okay, now we shall be talking about one more term, guys, socialization. So a lot of social is there. So what is the term? Socialization. Socialization means basically this is the process by which the persons are imbibing some social beliefs in themselves, right? So this is the process by which the person will be imbibing the social beliefs and the customs through the daily interactions, right? So here is the person, right? Let's say this is the person, right? It will be imbibing some things in itself, right? The person will be imbibing the social beliefs, right? There could be some social beliefs which are coming into this person. There could be the social beliefs which could be coming into this person, right? So social beliefs are there and the customs are there through the daily interactions, right? Through the daily interactions. Through the daily interactions, the person will be gaining some social beliefs, social customs, right? Through daily interaction, that is called as the socialization, right? So basically, if you are living in some area, we are understanding the things, how the people are living. If you are living in some new area, we are going to some new area and we are observing the things, how the things are happening. We are trying to understand the things, right? How the things are happening and all of those things, right? So this is called as a socialization, right? Now next term which we shall talk about over here, that is the what is social institution, right? Social institution. Okay, social institution, basically it means that this is the complex, right? This is the organized pattern. This is the organized complex pattern of the behavior, right? This is the organized complex pattern. The organized complex patterns of behavior where number of people engage to form common interest, right? To form common interest, right? For an example, let me give an example over here. For an example, the families, right? The schools, hospitals, right? These could be some examples which you shall remember over here, right? So socialized medicine we have talked about. We have talked about the socialization. We have talked about the social institution, which is the organized complex pattern of behavior which is engaged to form common interest. And here the example which you shall remember over here, that is the families, school, hospitals, and all of these things, right? Next term which we shall talk about over here, what is the socialism? What is the socialism, right? Socialism means that it is a system. It is a system of governance, right? Please remember, it is a system of governance where production and distribution, right? Here the production and distribution, production plus distribution, it is actually depending, or it is based on the social ownership. It is depends on social ownership, right? Social ownership, right? So that is about the socialism, right? Now we shall be talking about what is social structure, right? So 13th over here, what is social structure, right? So everything which I have talked about till now, right, 90% of things are related to the social, right? That's why I kept the name over here that sociology will not be the wrong term if you will be naming this chapter over here, right? So social structure, if you talk about, guys, this is the pattern of interrelation between the persons or between the human, right? So pattern of interrelation between persons, right? And that would be the social structure, right? The next term which we shall talk about over here, that is the social defense, right? That is a social defense. So let's talk about the social defense. Social defense means you're defending yourself. That is the social defense basically. So here this is the, if you talk about the technical definition, then preventive, therapeutic and rehabilitative services of the protection of society, right? Of the protection of society from antisocial elements, right? From antisocial elements or the criminal elements, from antisocial or criminal elements, right? I'm just writing very rudely over here. My writing might be very, very bad over here for writing, but I just want you to know the things that what do I mean by this particular term and what do I mean by this particular term. In a simple language, social defense means that against the criminal offense or against some antisocial activity, if you are defending that, right, if you are working against that is called as the social defense basically. So preventive, therapeutic and rehabilitative services of the protection of society, for the protection of society, right, from antisocial or the criminal acts, right? That is a social defense over here, right? Okay, now what about some more terms over here? For an example, you shall talk about what is role, right? So role simply means that these are the function or these are the duties which is assumed by a person in the society, right? You might be having some role, your father might be having some role, your mother might be having some role. So this is the responsibility, this is the duty of some person, right? This is assumed by us, right, for assigning some task over here. So function or duty which is assumed by a person of society, right? So it is a duty assigned by person in a society, right? That is called as role in a general language, right? Then what about the customs, right? What about the customs? Customs are traditionally accepted ways of the behavior, right? So it is, these are the traditionally accepted ways of behaving, right? Traditionally accepted ways of behavior, right? For an example, we are having some culture, right? Some parts of India might be having some different culture, this is having some different culture, some countries are having their different cultures, we are having some different cultures, right? So traditionally the culture is actually moving on among generations and all, right? So we might be having some different culture and the Western people might be having some different culture, the US people might be having some different culture. So this is the thing over here, right? In the India itself we are having different culture. So this is the custom. Basically here we are talking about the traditionally accepted ways of behavior over here, right? Now in itself, if we talk about the term, right, that is culture, right? That is culture, right? So for the culture they are saying that this is the socially acquired learned behavior, right? Socially acquired learned behavior, okay? So that is what, that is your culture, right? That is your culture, right? Now we shall be talking about one more term over here, right? Then we shall be talking about this diagram. So one more term which we are talking about over here, that would be our I would say the 17th one, right? That will be a 17th one. That is about, after the culture we shall be talking about what is acculturation, right? What is acculturation, right? Acculturation means that we are combining two cultures over here. So this is the diffusion of two cultures, right? So diffusion of, right, diffusion of cultures between two different groups, two different cultural groups, right? So that is called as acculturation. Acculturation is also called as, right, this is also called as culture contact, because we are combining two cultures over here. This is also called as culture contact, right? Okay, now we shall be talking about the very important term over here, very important diagram which we shall talk about over here. That is the Marlow's hierarchy of needs, right? This is called as the Marlow hierarchy of needs. So this is the Marlow's hierarchy of needs, right? So that was actually suggested by the Abraham Maslow, right? So this is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. It was suggested by the Abraham Maslow, right? And this is the 5-level pyramid, guys. This is a 5-level pyramid, as you can see in the picture also, right? So on the very first base, right, we are having the physiological needs. We are having the physiological needs where we are talking about the air, water, food, shelter, sleeping, clothes and reproduction and all. So first of all, in Hindi we are saying that the basic needs are the roti kapda makan, right? So these are the basic necessities, and these are the things, these are the physiological needs, right? So on the very first place, right, some poor people might they might be actually praying for only these things, that if they are having the shelter to live, and if they are having the food to eat, and if they are having the air to breathe, and these are only the physiological needs. This is only the thing which they are looking for, right? Then once we are getting these things, we might be looking upward, right? We might be looking for things like safety needs. For example, we should be having some security, we should be having some employment, we should be having some job and all, we should be having some resources, we should be having good health, property and all of these things, right? Then once we are having this thing, then we shall be looking for more things, right? For an example, what about the love and what about the belongings? We should be having the family, having the love and all, right? Having the intimacy in the life, sense of connections and all of those things, having boyfriend, girlfriend, all those things, right? Then once we are having this, then we are looking for more things. We are looking for self-esteem, right? We are looking for esteem, we are looking for respect, we are looking for self-respect, right? We are having that self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom and all of these things we should be having, right? And then once we are having all of these things also, then we are looking more upwards, right? We are saying that we should be having the self-actualization, right? What is that? We should be having the desire to become the most that one can be, right? I want to be a most successful person, I want to be a very rich person, right? So these kind of things might be there. So first of all, we should be having the basic things, then we are having the basic thing, then we are looking upward, we are having some more thing, then more thing, then more thing. So we are asking for more and more. That is the thing. So if some person is having job, he's looking for some stability, like the family and all of those things, right? Having the affection and all of these things, right? Girlfriend, boyfriend things and all of those things, right? Then after that, we shall be looking for the self-respect, ego and all of those things would be there, right? And then after that, I want to be a biggest person, I want to be a successful person, all of these things would be there at the last, right? That is self-actualization. This is the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which is the 5 levels of pyramid, right? It has been asked, guys, that's why I have discussed it over here, right? Once we have talked about that, now we shall be talking about the traditions, right? Now let's talk about the next term over here. I'm just talking about over here itself, that is tradition, right? So we know that usually we are talking about the tradition, right? There are some traditions going on in some family and all, right? So this is the customs which are handed over, from person to person, from person to person, okay? So handed over from person to person, these are the customs which they are passing on from one person to another, right? Then the 19th one which we are talking about, 19th, that is your attitude, right? Let's talk about the attitude. Now we are usually in a very vague term. This is a very vague term, and usually very casually we are using this term, that this person is having attitude and all of these things. So basically attitude means this is the permanent way, okay? In the question they are asking you, is it temporary or is it permanent? Yes, it is permanent. It is not temporary. It is a permanent aspect of humans behavior. It is a permanent aspects of humans behavior, and it is difficult to change, right? So please remember for your exam, right? It is not the temporary thing which we are talking about, it is the permanent thing which we are talking about as far as attitude is concerned. This is important and I am highlighting this as well, okay? Right, guys, now we shall be talking about what is taboo, right? But before that, let me talk about the types of attitude, right? So we shall be having some types of attitude. For an example, the very first one which we shall talk about over here, that is the components, I would say, instead of types, right? The components which I will be talking about over here, let me talk about the components, right? We shall be talking about the types also. These can be considered as types, or these can be considered as components also. So what are the components of the attitude, guys? 3 components we are talking about over here. The first one which we shall talk about, that is a cognitive or the knowledge element. Cognitive or knowledge element. You can say these are the elements or the components, whatever you want to call it, or types. Second one which we shall talk about, that is the affective or the feeling element. Affect or feeling, right? Affect or feeling element. Third one is the tendency to act, right? That is the component, tendency to act, right? So that is the thing as far as attitude is concerned. Taboo is like, there's a taboo in some society about taking these, about some terms over there, right? There could be taboo about some sexual study or something like that. There could be so many of taboos over there, right? So taboos are usually the prohibition related to some particular human action, right? So taboo are usually prohibitions, right? They are usually prohibitions related to prohibitions related to human action, to some human action. Okay, this is the taboo. 20, which we shall talk about over here, or I would say 21, what are opinions, right? What are opinions? Opinions are just the provisional view, temporary view, right? I'm having some opinion about some topic, I'm having some opinion about some debate, right? These are not my permanent view, these are my temporary or the provisional view, right? So this is my actually opinions are temporary or they are provisional, right? Provisional views which are held by people, views held by people at a point of dispute, at a point of dispute. Let's say you watched, right? You are watching some kind of news on the television, and they are saying that this is the particular person which is a victim in this particular crime. So a lot of person will be having this particular opinion. They will be start giving their opinions about that particular incident. Yes, that how this person might have killed that person, or this kind of thing, and those kind of things. So they will be having the provisional views in their mind, temporary views they will be there in the mind, and which shall be changed also, right? So this is the thing over here, that is about the opinion. You might be giving your opinion about something, right? So person might be asking your opinion about there something, right? Whether they should be taking this one or that one, or these kind of things, right? So these are the opinions. The next one, what are the beliefs, right? So I told you that opinions are temporary, attitude is permanent, but belief over here also, they are temporary, permanent. They are the permanent over here, they are the stable views. So these are the permanent, right? These are the permanent or the stable, permanent and the stable subjective thoughts, right? Stable subjective thoughts, right? Which are usually acquired from family, right? Usually acquired from family. For example, acquired from family, right? For example, you might be having some belief that there is a God, right? Or there is only one God. Some people might be having some belief that there is no God, right? Some people might be believing that there are the ghosts. Yes, they exist. Some people might be having the belief that there are no ghosts, right? So these kind of beliefs might be there, and usually they are permanent. They are coming from the generation to generation, right? Usually acquired from the family also, family only, right? Because the family were worshipping the God, right? So you are also worshipping the God, and you read about it, and you felt that yes, this belief is right. That yes, there is a God, right? So there could be the different views, right? There could be different views from in the people, right? There could be different beliefs in the people, right? So that is the thing. Now learning, 23. Now let's talk about the learning. Okay, if you talk about learning, guys, it is relative or a permanent change. What is learning? Right now you are learning, for example, right? It is a change which is happening by some experiences, by taking some experiences, or as a result of some practice, right? For an example, if you are practice on something, right? If you are practicing on injections, then you will be learning this technique, right? If you are practicing for the cannulation, if you are practicing for anything else, right, then you will be having a mastery on it, or you will be learning this process. So the learning might be having the two ways, either through the experience the person is having the learning, right, and even through the practice the person is learning, right? So this is kind of a, right, learning, if you talk about, this is kind of a relative or the permanent change. It could be the relative or permanent change in behavior, permanent change in behavior, right? For an example, you might see the difference between a literate people and the illiterate people, right? So literate one, they have learned something in their life and all of these things by the experiences, by the practices and all of these things. If you talk about an illiterate person, they have not learned that thing which you have learned. Actually, they have learned some different things, so maybe, right? So this is the thing. So relative or permanent change in behavior, right? As a result of what? As a result of practice or experience, right? That is called as practice or experience. That is called as learning, right? Now learning might be having some types over here. For an example, types over here, right? So one type, that could be the cognitive learning, okay. Two other types can be there. For an example, one could be affective learning or the psychomotor learning, right? So there could be cognitive learning, affective learning, and the psychomotor learning. If you talk about the cognitive learning, then this is knowledge, right? If you talk about the affective learning, this is the attitude, right? And if you talk about the psychomotor learning, these are the skills, right? So please remember, very, very important for your exam point of view. Okay, it has already been asked as well. So this is very, very important for you to remember them. Cognitive learning, affective learning, psychomotor learning, they are associated with the knowledge, attitude and skills respectively, right? Okay, now once we have talked about that, now we shall be talking about some theories over here, right? Theories in the sociology, right? Now we shall be talking about some theories over here, and these are the theories in the sociology, right? So one theory which we shall talk about over here, that is the Marxist theory, right? Basically what things you need to remember over here, I'm just highlighting those, right? That it is actually putting profit ahead of health, right? It is putting profit ahead of health. So whenever the person will be putting the profit ahead of health, right? I should be having this much amount of profit, right? And that thing of the profit, that might cause the disease. And this theory is actually given by the Marxist theory, right? So there are different theories in the sociology, right? Then we had the Parsonian theory, right? Parsonian theory. He said that social strain, if a person is having so much of social strain, so much of social stress, then this person might be having the disease, right? So this was given by what? This was given by the Parsonian, right? So this is Parsonian. So this was a Parsonian theory, right? Social strain caused by meeting the demands of social roles, right? The person will be taking so much of social stress, right? Social tension and all those things. So that might be social strain, that might be causing the disease, right? Then there is a theory from the Foucauldian, right? He's talking about, the diseases which are labeled used to sort and segregate the population to make it easier to control. Basically, there would be the disease, right, in those people which will be, they are basically used to segregate the population, right? Okay, to make it easier to control. Then there is a feminist. Feminist basically, it is he was talking about that particularly there is a man, okay, and he's doing the work, he's doing everything, and the female is trying to, coping that work, right? He is saying that, you can see over here, that carrying out the social role enforced on women by the patriarchal men, right? So this is medicalization of a woman around a reproductive life cycle. That is the feminist theory, right? So basically he was having the views, according to his theory, the female is trying to do everything over here that will be causing the disease, right? So that is the feminist theory over here, right? So there were different theories according to the Marxist, Parsonian, Foucauldian and the feminist theory, right? Marxist theory has been asked once, so that's why I'm just mentioning it over here, right? So these are different theories in the sociology, right? So that was about the sociology. Thank you.